Okay, good morning, everybody. It's not quite 11:30, but we're getting pretty close. So you can take the remaining minute or so to silence your phone. Everybody remember how to do that. Turn the alarms off. Either that or turn the damn thing off. Then you can't silence your phone if you left it home. I guess that's one way to take care of it. Anyway, today we are blessed with having Nina and Desney here to speak to us. And hopefully I won't pull a trick like I did last week and collapse in the back of the room. But it was kind of fun because I had Mara and Desney and Michelle come sit on the floor with me. And so we had a nice little party there, and everything was fine. And I do remember not to stand and lock my knees and do that for a long time without moving. But it's been a long time since I've been in the military, and you know, as we get older, we tend to forget some of these things. Anyway, I think without further ado, we will start out today. And so I did not have an opportunity to send out the slides from last week. I've got them, and there's been a lot of activity in the last week, and I just plumb forgot about it. So they will be sent out to you today, and as soon as I get the slides for today, I'll send them to you also. So, Nina, Desney, you're on.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning / afternoon. What a unique time to present. I did not test this is how it works, and I want to be mindful. I'm so sorry about the accommodations. You are aware that we have started construction at the Life Center, and so we're a little cramped and have to dance around, and hopefully I don't end up on the floor. But I'm sure a couple of you guys would join me to talk about it. But this is how it works, part 3. Our session here is about transparency. We want residents to understand how much we coordinate, communicate, and collaborate, as well as the planning that happens behind the scenes to support you. We're going to talk about several different things. How the team works together, what happens when there is a change in you, and what kind of communications and support we provide through meetings such as the Health Services Team, Risk and Retention, QAPI, which I will explain exactly what QAPI is, and others to ensure intentional collaboration for proactive planning and care for you. You see, this is going to be, I can't juggle it all. So changing needs, steady support, transition of care. Desney.
Hi, everyone. Now, Chuck has assured me when and if I do pass out, he will return the favor and be down here with me, which is great. Call security, okay? Because I've been seeing them work, and I would love a turn to be helped up. So I'm Desney. I'm the resource navigator. I just recently passed my board exam, so I'm working on getting my license, which is fun.
Congrats.
Thank you. I am a mental health rehabilitation technician as well, and I have a few more months before I can get my credential in social work gerontology. So if y'all can handle me for a few more months, I'll get something fancy on my title. But more about Nina now.
I just love working with Desney. So you guys know a little bit about me. I have my bachelor's in social services, or social work, excuse me. I also have my MBA in health management. I serve on the NCIA board, which is a nursing home institution that governs our licensed environments and the professionals that serve, such as myself. I am the vice president of that board. I serve on many committees. I am serving on the Policy and Governmental Affairs Committee for Leading Age. I also am board member of Leading Age Foundation. And I have been appointed, to the state plan for Alzheimer's disease and related diseases. This is a state plan that was initiated last year to talk about how we can best support residents living with the disease across the state. And I sit with many other professionals and experts in the field to create a statewide plan. And I also serve on the Arizona's Fall Coalition, and I have been just actually newly appointed as their Public Health Information and Communication co-chair.
So she's a lot more talented.
I'm just a lot more busy and significantly older than Destiny, so. But we do what we do to ensure that we can provide the best resources and support to those that live here on campus. We have a seat right here, sir, right in the front row. I think they purposely saved it for you, to be honest. So everything that we do and say today should be seen through the lens of our mission, vision, and values. Our commitment is supporting independence while planning for change. So you will see the changes, and forgive us, we did attempt to expand the font for you, but something happened, and unfortunately Kimberly is not here today. So if this is too light or it is not large enough, please forgive us. We will not make this mistake again. Okay? But through our changes, we have resident-centered planning. So when we are planning anything, we put the resident in the middle or the center of that planning. We have proactive support. Proactive support includes Desney, who is our resource navigator, clear communication and guidance that is across the board with not only you, your family members, but also the different departments that are around the community, and thoughtfulness in transitions when it's needed. And Desney, did you want to say anything regarding that?
For sure. Like Nina said, you guys are at the center of the conversation. So a lot of times we do get questions from sometimes family members. And what we like to say is, you can tell me anything, but I'm not going to be able to respond unless we have y'all's permission to speak with your family. Even in the conversations of higher levels of care, going to Plaza View or the healthcare center, it's y'all's choice. A lot of our seniors are concerned, what if I have a fall? I don't want security telling Mara and John and Molly and you guys coming and moving us to Plaza View. That's not what happens. It's always a conversation, and if you tell us no, that's it. Unless you're at a major risk to yourself or your neighbors, we leave it there. We support you from afar. I think you guys all know that the Community Matters office is very involved in the lives of our folks because of you guys being open to us. And we couldn't get anything done without y'all's interaction, which is why we view it as so important to your care.
Correct. So our goal is for residents living in independent living, assisted living, or the healthcare. Our goal is to ensure that you are thriving in your environment. Okay, so we do not have the right to move you without your consent. But what we do, if you are looking or exploring at these changes as maybe conditions or things are changing in your life, that's what we're here to provide, and that's what Desney is, education and resources, so we can guide you through the continuum of care. Desney?
So what is transition of care? It is very coordinated, but it is with the teams we have here. So you guys might think it's just us, Nina, Plaza View, the healthcare center. Sometimes it's other departments as well. Marketing, I'm in that office multiple times a day because that's where they hold Tracy, who is our assisted living coordinator. It's a lot of the different departments, including security, housekeeping. So the things that you guys might not think are involved in your plan of care definitely are. As far as care plan assessments for our independent living folks, it's not really a structured, on a piece of paper plan. It's very fluid and conversational. It's you guys meeting with me or one of my coworkers and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this problem. What kind of help can we get in here? And it's having that conversation, making a goal there, and moving forward. I do know in the licensed buildings, the care plans are more, structured.
They're more structured, but for independent living, it's an ongoing assessment or ongoing conversation, right? As things change, needs change, and there's various reasons that somebody can benefit from sitting down with Desney and or the Community Matters team to discuss those. Nothing needs to happen today, but information is power, and that's why we have armed this campus with these individuals that can provide that level of education and information for you. So as things arise, you have an awareness, right, of what's going on, and it's not taking you by surprise, or it's not feeling as overwhelming. Okay? So it's about care planning and support. It's about communication and follow through, and it's the right care at the right time at the right place. Key on the right, okay? Because sometimes we get in there and it's too late. Sorry, Destiny. It's me. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to scare you. Okay, so the Resource Navigator, there's a bunch of different components to the Resource Navigator role. As far as working with Nina and the higher level of care team, it is a lot about that transition. It's talking to, if you guys go out to a rehab or a skilled nursing facility, it's communicating with the case managers. And a lot of times if you're in a skilled nursing or rehabilitation, the plan is for you to come back to independent living. But if it's not, it's great to have that communication with me and the other case managers from where y'all are at. Sometimes they don't know if you might be interested in assisted living or your needs might be more suited for the healthcare center. So once we figure that out, there's other people involved, or Linda, who is the admissions coordinator for the healthcare center, and Tracy, who's the admissions coordinator for assisted living. My job is a lot of talking to everybody. It's a lot of walking, if you guys can believe it. So if you guys come to my office and I'm not there, I'm somewhere here, but I'm getting some stuff done. So the job really is collaboration and communication, which is something I've been very fond of in all my other jobs, is working with a team. I'm very blessed that the team here is very open to communication and collaboration. It's a lot of talking and walking and helping people. Okay, so when needs begin to change. Needs change gradually, right? So early identification matters, and this is your part. So we are partners, right? We can't make this work very well unless we both show up together to work for your benefit. And so early identification matters. So any health or safety concerns, if you are experiencing any health safety concerns, this is where you reach out for, hey, can we talk a little bit? Without fear of, if I say something out loud, something's going to happen to me. That does not happen. Okay, we're not allowed to. We can go to jail for that. So know that. It's illegal to just, move people unwillingly from one place to another. Okay? So what's the harm in getting good information early on? No harm. Okay? Strictly benefits. Changes in your daily functioning. So if you're noticing different changes in your daily functioning, this is where you can say, hey, can we talk about it? What resources do you have? Because I know if I continue to have these changes, it can result in something that I have to deal with on a larger scale. Okay? If you're noticing that your gait, the way we walk is our gait, and it's unbalanced or it's shifting a little bit, it's different than it used to be. Let's see if we can get you some rehab in your home. And those are the conversations that Desney and her team has with individuals one-on-one. Okay? Increased support. Increased support doesn't always mean transitioning through the continuum, going to assisted living or a healthcare center. Increased support can be, let's do a pharmacy review of your medications. Let's get a pharmacist involved. Or Let's get Beatitudes at home to do certain tasks in your home to provide you with that level of support. Or it could be, let's do some therapy, home health. You don't know, but the goal is to put as much support and resources in your home so you can continue to thrive in your home, in your environment. That's what we want. And then family concerns and questions. This is always a good one. You know, we are here to talk to those that have consented for your families to talk with us. We can help them because we know that family is important. We all need a village, right? We do not stand alone, and this team across the campus does not stand alone as well. So having people in your support, family, friends, or somebody that trusts, we can invite them to the table to help discuss options and resources alongside with you, should you choose to have them at the table. Okay? So communication workflow. We know Desney is running about 1,000 miles a day, but there's so many different team members, again, across the campus that is coordinating and communicating on your behalf. And so our communication is coordinated and intentional. There is documentation for follow-up. Remember, we can't keep everything up here. There's too many of you guys. Collaboration across the teams. So there's many collaborations, and this is the behind the scenes because it doesn't sit on one. Just like it takes a village for you guys, we also have to work together as one team. And it takes all of us to provide the level of resources and support for you all, depending on what is going on in your situation. There's clear role alignment. So everybody has a role to play, right? And we do our best to stay in our lane. And if you're in the military, Chuck, we all know that, right? Right along with do not lock your knees. And then there, of course, the collaboration across the teams. Did you have anything additional, Desney, on that?
No, just again, there are a lot of teams that we work with. Some you wouldn't even think that are a part of that conversation. But sometimes whenever your needs are changing, sometimes you may not even realize it. And it's one of our staff members here that says, hey, I'm kind of worried about this resident. Can you go check on them and just see what's going on? And a lot of times that is just a friendly conversation. How are you doing? How's everything going? And we have, Karana and our Pine Park Health folks, the primary care doctors. And if they have a concern, sometimes that is where we'll get involved as well. But it is just a conversation, and that communication across teams is vital to our operation here at Beatitudes. Yes.
So if we notice something in our neighbors or fellow residents, are we allowed to tell you about it so you can explore it, check into it, or whatever?
Yeah, of course. You can always call Mara, Molly, or I, or even John, and just say, hey, something's going on. I'm not quite sure. Can you go check? We'll leave your name out of it. Oftentimes it is just very much a friendly visit. Just making sure that everything is okay. We can't give you any information about that conversation, of course. But yes, you're always welcome to share your concerns. We prefer if you let staff know versus talking amongst your neighbors about it, just so it's not, gossip and drama. It is a way to get that proactive work in there. So that way the team is involved, and oftentimes it's across the teams that we get more resources because that's how we work.
Thank you. So communication is key. So there's many platforms that we provide to allow the communication to happen, right, in a thoughtful manner. So one of our meetings that we have that is actually weekly is the Health Services Team Meeting. This is a key way for us to stay proactive, coordinated, and resident-centered, okay? During the meeting, we talk about who do we have in the different areas. So how many people are we serving? Always got to know that. We're talking about what I call the ADT, admissions or move-ins. Who's moving in, who's moving out. We are looking at who has gone to the hospital or discharged, who is returning back from the hospital or rehab. So we're looking at all that movement. Who has transferred from one area to another. So if you went from independent to assisted living, or you did respite and you're returning back to independent living, what does that look like? We're saying it out loud so team members know and are aware and we're coordinated, right? We review resident and family concerns. So if there are concerns that are shared out loud, we're talking about it to make sure that we are aware and what is the plan of care or action that we are applying to the situation. We are looking at falls and safety trends, right? We need to look at how do we look as a campus as it relates to falls or safety concerns. So we're talking about that. What has happened in the last week that we need to be tracking? We're tracking changes of conditions. So again, if something has changed, those gradual changes has resulted in something happening, what we call an event for you. We're talking about that. We're seeing, okay, what kind of resource should we be talking about to the resident and or their family members at this time? How do we get proactive with preventing this from getting further down the road as best as we can? We talk about skin injuries and nutrition at risk. We are looking at your weight, right? And if you're losing weight, that can be a sign that something is happening, right? So we have our beautiful dietitian, Lori Edens. A lot of you guys know her. She serves the whole campus, even though she's assigned to the healthcare. I do not know how she does it, but she looks at that and she provides the guidance and the education, not only to the team, but also individually to the residents and their family members. Okay, so this meeting helps us identify concerns early and respond quickly as best as possible before the issue grows. So who attends the health services meeting? It's a full team, right? We have our health services leadership, our clinical team members, we have our community support leaders. So Desney and Mara attend this every week. We have our home health partners, our therapy partners, hospice partners. We have additional wellness and care partners as appropriate that joins us at the table to discuss what we are doing and how we're going to do it together, again, with you in the center. Anything additional for that?
I would just say that this meeting is more so about the license environments. We do mention some of our independent living folks that are needing to go to a higher level of care that have decided that, because we have an additional meeting where we mainly talk about independent living, which is,
Well, before
Just
we
kidding.
get that, again, so the meeting we talk about shared awareness of residents' needs and risk, improved follow through, and accountability. Right? There's so many moving parts, so we need to know who has this particular task or follow up, and make sure that there's accountability to that. It strengthens care coordination during transitions, and it supports timely communication with residents and family members. Okay, and it reduces avoidable crisis and last minute decisions as best as possible. Nothing's ever perfect, so we work within the means that we have. Okay. We also have the QAPI. I thought the risk management was before here.
But I think we
Okay.
just shared delusion.
Okay, thank you. This is the quality assurance performance improvement. Before we go there, let me just double check our slides, because it would make better sense if we have a particular slide before.
Yeah, it's after coffee.
Is it after?
Yeah.
Okay, so forgive me. Okay, so QAPI, quality assurance and performance improvement. This is a monthly meeting. This is where we start to drill down on what is going on our campus in our different areas. We look at and review trends. We look at and review our concerns and our performance data. We actually identify opportunities for improvement. This is the purpose, right? Are we providing quality? Is there an opportunity to get better? And then where do we need to improve? Where can we improve? Okay, we develop improvement plans and timelines. So it's not good enough to say, hey, we see this particular issue, we should work on that. We're going to say, yes, we're going to work on that, and let's develop a timeline so we can keep at it and make sure that there's that accountability to this process improvement. We report on our progress and our outcomes in this meeting, and it strengthens the systems that support resident care. So who participates in our QA-PI meeting and why it's critical? Well, everyone. We have the best people around the table with us. We have our medical director, Dr. Brittany MacArthur. We have the Marcan group, Dr. Marissa Marcelli, psych nurse practitioner. We have our pharmacist, Aaron. Yes, Beatitudes has a pharmacist. How many of us knew that? I know. Well, Molly did back there. I know. This is why it's great to know the behind the scenes, right?
Where do we find them?
He's mine. I pull him out of my pocket and I actually use him. No, he actually reviews medications, and there's actually he participates in a certain way, which I will explain in a little bit. Okay? We have our clinical leaders across the campus. We have our IDT interdisciplinary team. Okay, so you have your social worker, you have your dietitian, you have your director of nursing, your assistant director of nursing, MDS coordinator. You have all of these positions working together. That's what we call the IDT team. And of course, the leaders across the campus. Did that go the right way? Yes. Okay, so who participates? You saw the team. And again, the goal is to improve quality and safety over time, to reduce repeated issues, to strengthen staff education and compliance. Things change all the time. New information is issued out by the sites that we typically follow, CMS, CDC, all these different areas. So we want to always educate our team with new things that are coming down or new policies that we have implemented across the campus, and ensures that we learn from our trends. So whatever we're reporting on, we want to learn from it, because we want to see the trend. If it's not a trend that we want, undesired, we want to see a trend downward. Okay? So I thought it would be fun, because Nina, you were talking a whole lot of stuff that I'm not really familiar with. So what does it really mean, QA? Well, one thing I've mentioned before in the past, and I'm going to present hopefully this year, is our Beatitudes Fall Prevention Program, right? And why do we want to, and why have we created this fall prevention program? Well, let me share some data that actually goes into our QA PI meeting. This is the data that I'm looking at, right? So just to kind of orientate you, this is Beatitudes Falls, okay? Since July of last year, we have been inputting all of our falls into a system, okay? I would say since October of this year, we have 100% been putting all of our information in our system. So really, from October to current, we have had 489 falls, right? Is this important for me to look at? Say, Nina, you better be looking at that. Okay, all right. So out of the falls, you would see that we have 195 residents that is falling out of a campus of about 600. Okay? All right. 59 of those residents are repeat fallers. Okay? So what may start off as a conversation, hey, you've had a fall. I'm not looking at anybody. Is everything okay? We ask those questions. We send Desni or the team in there, as well as sometimes our therapists, to go and ask those good questions. What can we do to support you? Should I do a home safety eval? Should I look at your environment to make sure that there's no rugs that's going to increase your risk of tripping? Or do we need grab bars in our bathroom so I can best support myself when I'm getting up? Or do I need a shower chair so I can steady myself when I'm taking a shower on wet surface? Okay? So these are the things that we are doing, but this drives us. The data drives us on where do we need to focus, because there's so many different things that are happening across the campus. When you gather that information, you can push your numbers and data. Now you can see what's going on and how we look as a community. And then it breaks it down. Nina, where are the falls? Well, the biggest falls is independent living, right? Guilty. But that's okay, because that's giving us opportunity for improvement, right? Performance improvement. This is why we developed the Falls program. And some of us, Laura, is on that committee that has been working for a couple months now on that, right? The second is assisted living, then we have the healthcare center, and then we have our early memory support. Okay, and you can see, you can't see the numbers, you can see that the graph goes down, it decreases with the number of falls over the period of time. So that drives this information, and a whole other lot of information drives what we do and why we do it. Yes, ma'am?
It's the 285.
So what is the 285? This is just open incident reports or event reports. This has nothing to do with anything in particular for you guys. It's our workflow. This lets me know I have 285 open and I need to close them. That's all.
Okay, so the fall, the real number for actual falls is not 489,
It's 489 falls, right? Not for the year, for the last, since, oh, the numbers are here, since May, June. But this is the kicker. We didn't really start to see all of our falls input in the system until September, October. So we average around 80 falls a month. Yes, sir.
Do you break down the falls in different categories like injury producing or serious?
We certainly do.
Can
Yes, we do.
you elaborate on that?
Yes, sir. So yes, we break it down not only with falls with injury, but we also days of the week, and you would see that Thursdays we're falling the most, right? We track days. Is it more morning? Is it night? Is it after the bar? We're looking at that. We have to break it down so we can understand exactly what is driving, or what the root cause, we call it, what the root cause of the falls is, and then we build from there. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So, like, the most is independent living, but the most people who are on our campus are in.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a skewed bar, is it not, because of
Certainly.
percent?
You could look at it that way, but if you actually look at which I don't have this data in front of you, remember only 195 out of the 489 falls, it's only 195 residents.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you actually break it down further, you will see where the population is highest with falls. Yes, ma'am.
So if you're an independent living and you live alone, it's up to me to report if I fail.
Yes. So that's a great question. The question is, if I live in independent living, is it up to me to report that I fell? Especially if I did not need the support of our security team. Please do. That gives us a better picture of what's going on. And it's no harm to do so. So we heard Desney share the example that some people do not want to report a fall because of fear of, or maybe they just keep their business to themselves, which we can respect that as well. But this is only the falls that I'm aware of that has been reported. There's many more which we know falls that go unreported because the resident was able to get up off the floor themselves. Okay? But if that happens, let us still have a conversation. Talk to us about the fall and see what resources we can provide you or offer or even educate you of so you can decide when it's right for you to pull the trigger on those resources. Okay? All right. I'm glad that you guys had a little bit of fun with that. We're going to talk about the risk and retention meetings.
Okay, so risk and retention, those are meetings that we have every other week. It is primarily, those are for the independent living, strictly independent living residents we have. So the risk part of it, which is the part me and Mara and Molly are mostly part of, is, if we're having residents with concerns, it's very much a conversation of, I'm really worried about them. They've been acting a little bit differently. They're not sure where they are quite so much anymore. They're having more questions about their health. Sometimes it is collaboration with, Karana or the Pine Park Health folks. They let us know, hey, I'm kind of concerned about them being in independent living without some more support at least. And it's just really good to have that round table of the people that are in there, because nobody at Beatitudes is making a decision that you need more help alone. It's not me saying, you know what, it's time for them to go to assisted living. It's all of us saying, well, have we tried this? Have we tried getting Molly in there to do some recreational therapy? Have we tried getting Summit in there to do well, whenever we get a new rehab team, I'm sorry. So sorry. But we have all of those resources here. Beatitudes at Home, sometimes they'll let us know, hey, our caregivers were with this resident and they're acting a little bit different. Now, me personally, what do I see the most in independent living that concerns us? Urinary tract infections. That is something that I'm seeing more frequently, even in the winter, where it's 0 to 100. You are fine one day, you're coming to us the next day. We're very concerned. We're gonna say, hey, have you considered going to your primary, maybe getting a test, making sure everything's okay? You know, a lot of times that's a simple case of antibiotics, but it's something that can turn so bad so quick. So things like that are things that we talk about in risk and retention. The retention side is just, you know, how are we keeping folks happy here? It's sad whenever any of our residents want to leave Beatitudes. So that's something we talk about in there as well. And it's marketing is in there, John, Molly, Peggy, Mara, security. And Beatitudes at Home is usually in there as well. And Donna and Nina. So a lot of us. Yes, ma'am.
So if you're seeing one of the Kirana healthcare givers, are they sharing our medical information with you?
Not really. I will be honest, it's mostly me going and saying, hey, I think this residence needs to be seen by you guys. Can you please get them in today if that's something that we've discussed? If I go to you and I say, hey, I'm concerned, you know, you're acting a little bit differently. Would you be okay if I contacted Kirana for you, if you're signed up with them? That's kind of the information we give. If you guys fall and it's more repeated, that's something I'm going to the primary care and saying, hey, I've noticed they've been falling a lot recently. Is that something they're sharing with you? Just so that they can maybe give a referral to those in-home support services, Covenant Health, things like that. It's never actually calling and saying, hey, this resident came in and let me tell you everything that's going on. It's very much, I'm concerned about them. Can you just go check in with them?
So just to clarify, although we communicate in a collaborative, intentional way, we still have to uphold our regulations, or, you know, right, which includes HIPAA privacy. Okay, so there is no voluntarily sharing of medical information that you have not given consent for us to know. Okay, I want you guys to know that, because privacy is very important to me. And I will feel extremely violated if I knew that folks that did not have my consent was discussing my private information. We do not do that here. I saw a hand up. Melissa. Was it your hand? Okay.
So I understood you to say that a Kirana healthcare person could come to you and say, hey, I am concerned about this person that I am seeing. Isn't that?
Right, I'm sorry. Maybe let me clarify. They're never saying, hey, this is what's going on with them. It is more so, can you just go check and see if they need any more resources in the home? They never tell us what is medically going on. It's more so, can you guys just go check to see if they need any more support? I think because we are such a collaborative campus, it's more so making sure you're okay, but that medical information, like your diagnoses, your medications, none of that is being shared. I would say primarily it's me saying, hey, can you get them in? They might need like a flu test or a COVID test. But your medical information, yes, private. So sorry, I think I just misrelayed information.
Right, and a lot of that, so if Kirana has talked to you, an individual visit, right, and they have said, hey, I know that Beatitudes has, because they're our partner, has these resources, and they get your consent for the plan of care, which includes reaching out to those resources, then, and you say, yes, please do, I would like to know more about XYZ, or outpatient therapy, or Beatitudes at Home, or what Destiny does for the resource, then they make the connection to the right entity. That's that communication and intentional collaboration. Okay? Any other?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A lot of the people have care workers that are not part of Beatitudes at Home. And there are those of us who also have primary care physicians that are not part of Corona. So what's your connection, or how do you try to communicate with those people? Because, you know, families will hire, you know, the reason I say that is something happened and I called the Attitudes at Home and I said, here's what happened with this individual. They said, we don't have, that's not our worker. And they didn't know, you know, who it was. And so what kind of connection do you have with those not directly working and affiliated with Beatitudes?
So the question is, what kind of connection do we have with those primary care providers or caregivers that do not work or are partners with Beatitudes Campus? We have very minimal, if any, connection with them, right? Because let's take it apart. Let's do our community providers. So not Curana, not Pine Park. The only thing I can do with your permission is call them on your behalf. But guess what they would tell me on the phone? They have not signed a medical release. I cannot talk to you on the phone. So it becomes challenging to coordinate care and do that intentional communication, which is why we always encourage, if you are needing more collaboration, the reason why you're here on campus at Beatitudes, we would always encourage Curana and or Pine Park as partners, because it's far easier to collaborate with partners than any community provider.
So why does Curana would have to tell you the same thing though, wouldn't they? In other words, do you need a release?
You would have provided that release to them. Curana would ask you, when they're doing a health visit, they're asking you during the development of the plan of care, do you want me to? And if you say, yes, I'm giving consent for you to reach out for these different entities, then they have permission, right? A community provider does not know our operations or our structure. So they wouldn't even begin to try to, because think about, they're serving Phoenix at large. They don't have that ability because of their sheer number and size. Same with a independent caregiver, right? An independent caregiver, a caregiver that is not a Beatitudes team member or falls under Beatitudes at Home. We do not know if you decide on your own to independently contract with a caregiver. Now, we may see somebody every day in and day out and like, oh, okay, they may have a caregiver, but we don't have the right or consent to talk individually to somebody who reports to a different company or organization, or who you have an independent agreement with. Okay? So that's why we would not know if you're reporting something regarding somebody who's not a part of Beatitudes structure or team. We will not know. We will do our best, though, to try to support you. So if there's something going on, absolutely I will try to call the provider with you right next to me, right? Because I need your permission to talk. And if you give them permission to talk to me, now I'm able to, right? And the same with the caregiver. Yes, sir.
All of my primary medical people are outside the campus. However, I signed up with Travana a couple of years ago, I think, when they came as a secondary. Is that good enough?
No.
What does that get me, if anything?
So what does it get you if you sign up with Curana as secondary? If you are having a change of condition, right? You woke up, you're not feeling good, and you're unable to get an appointment fast enough with your own primary care provider in the community. If you have Curana as secondary, they can come and see you for that thing. So if you're saying, Nina, I may have, for Desney's example, UTI, they can come and see you for the UTI. What they're not going to do is review your medications, make changes to your blood pressure medications or anything like that, because they're not your primary. But they can take care of a UTI. They can take care of if you're not feeling good and you need cough medication, they can take care of that.
Why can't they come on and say, okay, let me see your med list?
They could look at your med list. They cannot make, because they don't have your, so the question is, what if, can they see my med list? Curana if they're secondary. They could see your med list, but would they make changes on your med list? No, because they're not your primary care provider.
The most they can do is say, hey, maybe we ought to look at this.
Yes, the most they can do is provide you with guidance so you can go back to your primary care, or they could say, sign up with me primary and I take care of everything for you. That's what they do. Yes. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. So, okay, we're going to move on. You've already explained who attends, risk and retention, and you discussed the different things that is discussed in that meeting. So what is not pictured with all the communication or the behind the scenes is?
Yeah, like I said, we're walking pretty much all the time. So we have 1 million daily impromptu meetings. That is literally just me saying, I gotta go find Nina, and running to find Nina. Or, John sometimes is across campus. A lot of these things are, unfortunately, it's not the proactive stuff that I need to speak with one of my coworkers about. It's stuff that's happening where it's more urgent. It's one of our residents needs to go to the healthcare center for a bit, or they need to go to Plaza View for a respite, stuff like that, where I need answers from Nina right now, or I need answers from somebody above me. So, we get our steps in, about 10,000 a day, and sometimes they are almost as beneficial as those weekly ones.
I have to laugh at that. It's so true. Desney is fighting tooth and nail every day for every resident on this campus. I see Desney sometimes, I believe, more than I see any of my direct team members. And I love it. No, but she would say, if it's urgent, she would say, I need to talk to you. What about this? What about that? And she initiates your next steps to support you. And so, hands off, I haven't seen a resource navigator work the way you have, and I love what you do here for the residents that you serve.
And Nina gave me access to her calendar, which was probably her first mistake. So I can find her almost anywhere.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing here? Okay. So how do we stay ahead of needs? It's not a perfect science because a lot of times we are not looped into residents' needs until it's far greater, right? The goal is early identification, but even that, sometimes we don't really recognize that we should be saying something out loud, or we are not ready to say something out loud. So through our proactive platforms that we have that weekly meeting where it's real-time coordination to identify concerns early and respond quickly. We have Desney's impromptu meetings in my office, maybe in the bathroom, depends on how urgent she needs me, or anybody else across campus. We have our risk and retention meetings that is talking predominantly about independent living residents and what is going on. What other resources can we provide them to keep them aging in place? We have our transition care support, which is what we all do. And we are developing individual plan of care. So if you know plan of action, next steps, plans of care is the same concept, right? It's just, what are we doing to provide you with support? And we are going to dig further into hospitalizations in a minute, but then our quality assurance, performance improvement, or our QAPI meetings. When we start to add up and pull all that information together, how do we look? And then what can we do better to support you here on campus? Yes, ma'am.
My understanding is, if we're in independent living and my level of need is going down, I don't have to move to get assisted living, right? It comes to me.
That's a good question. So the question is, I live in independent living, and if I see me start to decline, do I need to move into assisted living, or can I get assisted living in my home? So that's a great question, and it's a yes and a no. So yes, you can get services in your home. We have Beatitudes at Home. They provide non-certified services to residents that include medication reminders, it includes shower support, light housekeeping, food, companionship, escorts, all of that. There is a cost to that, right? To bring a caregiver in your home. But if your needs become greater, right, than what you can afford or what the availability is for Beatitudes at home, then we want to discuss the other options and help you make the right decision for you. Yes, sir.
So let's say that someone has a wound that needs daily dressing changes for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the channel for that?
So the question is, if I have a wound that requires daily dressing for 2 weeks, the right channel will be home health. Covenant Home Health, one of our partners, will send a nurse, an RN, to your home, and they will provide that type of support, wound dressing, for the 2 weeks, and so depending on how long or how you heal. Okay. So yes, there's always an answer. Yes, ma'am.
How do we get maintenance to do some things that we feel are dangerous, such as having to climb over a bathtub to take a shower?
Okay, so that's a great question, because I thought you were going to go into How It Works Part 4, but nope, you're staying right in How It Works Part 3. So the question is, how can I get maintenance to come in and do that hard, maybe construction to move a tub instead of having to climb over to make it more of that lip where you can easily cross that threshold without increasing your risk of a fall. A work order. We have Mara right here, and Mara, I don't know if anybody else supports you in that, but you can call Mara and or email her or holler at her if you see her walking around and say, can I please get a work order for my bathroom? I'm afraid of falling, or my concern is falls. And they will schedule you and work directly with you with getting their team in there to address that need. Okay? Will they charge? There is a charge. What is the charge, Mara? Okay, does anybody know the charge? It's not $5,000. Don't you start.
It depends on the apartment. That's why
Okay.
you can do a work order yourself for your homes anytime you need something, but something like that's specialized, we would recommend you call one of us for that, because we can also put some extra people on that work order to kind of say, like, this requires like an assessment, a discussion, a quote, because there's construction involved. It's not going to be the same for every apartment, because not every apartment has the same size bathroom, age of bathroom, yada,
Okay.
yada, yada.
So in case you did not hear Molly, you can put in your work order independently, or you can ask the Community Matters team, Mara, to put in that work order for yourself. When you're in consultation with the maintenance people, when they call you directly, they would discuss what that cost may look like, and they can talk to you about why the cost is what it is based off of the nuances of your particular environment. Okay? Good question. Because I think everybody was like, oh, that's good to know. So, good question. Okay. So let's dig a little bit deeper with hospitalizations. Desney.
I'll rapid fire through this. So essentially, whenever a resident falls or calls security, sometimes you guys need to go to the hospital. Sometimes we know that if security is involved, because security will make that report saying they fell or they needed 911 called. Whenever we know that you're out in the hospital, Mara calls the hospital every single morning. And she says, I would like to check on my residents. Are they still there? So Mara does that every single day. Same with all of the rehabilitations and skilled nursing facilities. There's a bug. Mara is making sure that you guys are still there. And that includes whenever you guys get discharged. So some of you guys may have seen me, Mara, Molly, at some point after a hospitalization. We check on you. We say, hey, we heard you were in the hospital. Do you need any support in your home? Oftentimes it's no, and that's fine. And some residents we call beforehand. So that's usually when you see us. If you guys do go to a rehabilitation, I am usually in contact with the case manager there to see if there's any discharge plans that they need assistance from Beatitudes with. So a lot of times if you guys just need a little bit of strength back in your legs, it's a very easy, no, they're returning to independent living. We put in an order for, covenant or rehab at their home, and that's fine. Sometimes our residents do need a higher level of care upon discharge. It's not always a permanent move. Sometimes it's just a few extra weeks in the healthcare center or Plaza View. In that case, I get the appropriate person involved, which would be Nina, and Tracy or Erlinda. So we're very much on top of it. Me and Nina were just at the terraces the other day trying to check in on some of our residents. And tomorrow we're going, not Nina, me and Tracy are going to a different rehabilitation just to make sure our residents are doing okay. Sometimes our residents don't want to go to a higher level of care, but we don't know until we talk to them. So that's just kind of an added benefit of checking in on our residents to make sure it's not a rush whenever you guys are getting discharged to get those plans in place. We want to make sure it's as smooth a transition as possible.
Correct. So I would ask that if you want Beatitudes support, if you have a hospitalization and you want Beatitudes there, please let the team that's taking care of you in the hospital or the team that's taking care of you in that skilled nursing environment, let them know, hey, you may receive a call, or I know you will receive a call, because Mary's making those calls every single day for all of us that are in hospitals and rehab environments. I want them to participate in my care. We will go to the hospital. We will go to the rehab environment as long as it's local to support you in person, which feels really good when there's a lot going on. You just need somebody to break it down for you. And we know you, we care about you, and we want the best for you. So if you want us to walk alongside you, do not hesitate to ask. Yes, ma'am.
Going in for a scheduled admission for a surgical procedure that you don't anticipate any follow-up needs, should we still let you know that that's going to be happening?
We do like to know when you're off campus just for census wise, so we know, oh, this resident isn't here. But a lot of you guys have scheduled surgery. So it's mostly just knowing you're off campus, right? In case you guys have mail, we just keep it in the back. So it's not being like on your door. Great question though. Yes, Savannah's right. Yep. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Ellie?
Brenda, I guess I might know, whether you're talking to independent living or private view, and which personnel, like you mentioned Mara, I don't know what her present occupation is, and Mara, and Disney, Mara, you mentioned Tracy, and you mentioned several names. I don't know which one
So correct. So the question is, which team members that was mentioned out loud, Mara, Desney, Tracy, belong to Plaza View? So Plaza View actually has the management team on the 5th floor that is checking on you. Mara, Desney are making calls. In particular, Mara's making those calls every day for independent living residents. The assisted living team makes independent calls for assisted living residents. They make their own calls for the assisted living residents. And they provide us support. And we still all talk together in one of those meetings. Did I have another question? Ellie, did I answer your question? Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. We can sidebar later. Yes, ma'am.
If I had broken hip and went into the hospital and came out, and I know that people have gone to the terraces, what other rehab places do residents go?
The question is, what other rehab places do residents go? We do have a vetting sheet that will be coming out with updated environments that is recommended by myself through my visits and my questions that I pose to all environments, so we can partner closely as two campuses. That will be coming out next month in March. But it always depends on your insurance. And so we have today the terraces and Christian Care that we recommend. A few others will be put on that vetting sheet that you can consider when talking with your discharge planner in the hospital. Okay, so more to come on that.
I went through a lot of them, I'm sorry.
Yes. So we kind of talked about the support that's offered. Again, it's advocacy. We are here to support you. It's continuity of care. Some folks, Destiny said, once you discharge from the hospital and or the rehab, you may not yourself feel very comfortable to go back into independent living. So we do provide respite services in the healthcare center or the assisted living, so you can get some additional support until you feel very comfortable and confident to return home to your independent living environment or home. We have, of course, we communicate with discharge planners and physicians. We talked about that. We attend your care plans. I shared that. And we monitor your whereabouts, and that's Mara. Yes, sir.
You've been using the term respite care. How does that differ? And what is respite care?
So respite is just a short period of time.
It's just the time involved.
Yeah, we're just talking about that time frame. It's temporary. So it could be for 3 days, it could be for 7 days, it could be for 2 weeks, it could be for a month, but your goal is to return back home. So that's respite care. Okay? So again, Destiny already talked about after you return back from hospitalization or rehab, there's ongoing support that's provided by Destiny and the team and the healthcare service team. No matter where you kind of land returning back home, we're here to support you until you are back to your prior level of functioning, or you have the right resources and support in your home to prevent whatever occurred from occurring again. Plan of care development. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to briefly share. Plan of care, we've been talking about it throughout this session. Plan of care is really talking with you as a resident in the center. It's talking with your families. If you have consented for us to talk with your families, it's talking to your providers, and it's developing goals and preferences, right? This is all in support of you. So sometimes we got to sit down and understand what your goals are. Nina, what do I want? Or what can I have because I want to stay in independent living? How can I best support my goals? And we come around the table to support you with that, and we develop a plan. Well, this is the plan, Chuck. Okay? Your goal is to keep it. But we work with you on that, and that's what a plan of care is. So there's a development piece, and that is sitting down. It's when you start to gradually see these changes in your body, it's sitting down with Destiny, right? And talking about, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I want. What do you have? Now we're developing a plan of care. Just that simple. And that plan of care always evolves, right? Because things continue to change. We have different outcomes that we need to adjust or pivot. And that's always at the center, is that plan of care and changing to make sure it still fits your needs. We talked about assessments. Assessments is simply gathering the information. Assessments could be health assessments. It just could be taking an assessment of what's going on. It's functional observations. It's provider input. And again, it's all about safety and support needs. We haven't talked about what it looks like moving to a higher level of care. Did you want to?
Sure. So whenever one of y'all is ready to move to a higher level of care, there are a few people you might talk to about it. Tracy is our assisted living coordinator. Erlinda is our healthcare center admissions coordinator. So depending on what kind of care you need, you guys might speak with them or me. And a lot of that is just kind of a checklist. Those licensed environments need you to have a recent TB test, so to make sure you don't have tuberculosis. And they need physician's orders. So your doctor is going to have to say they need this level of care is a good fit for them. If you're needing Plaza View, you will sit with Nina. She does a quick assessment in the marketing office or in your home, but usually in the marketing office. And it'll be a very collaborative environment again. Tracy, if you're going to Plaza View, will go ahead and start communicating with you. She'll take you on a tour of Plaza View and get you all the paperwork you need to fill out in order to make that change. And Mara will step in if you're ready to leave your independent living apartment, give you move out instructions.
So setting the right expectations. This is so important, and when you have a different expectation and that is not met, you tend to be disappointed. Fair? So that's why we try to sit down with you. We try to provide you with the education and resources so you can understand each environment and the resources that we provide a little bit better than what you probably walked into that conversation understanding, okay? But we want to, what supportive living looks like in assisted living or in the healthcare is daily support with care needs, it's oversight and coordination, it's increased safety and stability. We do not bubble wrap people in bubble wraps, although I wish I could keep you guys all nice and safe. But you still have the right to do whatever you want to do. Get up, get dressed, go to this activity across campus. I want to attend this event. You still can do all of that. We're here to provide the support and to continue connection and belonging. So why is this service, transition care, and everything that we talked about today is important? It reduces stress and confusion. It is overwhelming, and if you are not from the healthcare industry, it's confusing and overwhelming, and there's a lot of terms that are used that you do not or may not understand. And so we're here to, again, walk alongside you and give you that information so you understand better and you can make better choices for you or your loved one. We hope the goal is to improve safety after hospitalizations by the ongoing support and options across campus to help you continue to recover from whatever event landed you into the hospital. Smoother recovery. We have from home health to Beatitudes at Home to Desney and Mara, that was them together. I was attempting to do Desney and Mara to add that support. Use us, we're here for you, okay? Prevent avoidable hospital returns. We don't want you going back and forth to the hospital. So partnering with Kirana or Pine Park, calling us when you are having difficulty or changes, that's helpful for you, and we love to do it. Okay, we want to provide you with those resources. We want to open up those conversations. And it helps, here's the key, residents remain independent longer. Sometimes we wait until it's too late to receive help, and we can't even meet that need, right? We don't perform miracles. I wish we did. So sometimes if we can get in there earlier, we are likely to be more successful than if we get in there later. Not that we will not try our best to do the best that we can for you, but we want to start those conversations as early as possible. Okay, transition of care timeline, what it can look like. We've already talked about that movement, independent living, hospital, rehab. Next steps could be going back home. It could be doing a respite. It could be anything. Next steps could be having care in my home for a couple weeks until I feel better. Whatever that may look like. Home health, hospice. There's so many services that we can provide. Finally.
There we are.
I was like, how many slides are there? And we didn't think we were going to have enough information for you guys to last the whole time.
This morning I was like, we're going to have to talk about ourselves a little bit. Kill a couple minutes.
Yeah, no. So again, behind every transition is a team focused on dignity, safety, communication, and compassionate guidance. That we have a ton of behind the scenes. You may only see that 1 minute or 5 minutes, but there is a whole lot of time that is given to your individual needs when you need it. And that's what we hope we conveyed today. And hopefully maybe you learned a little bit more why Destiny is running around here with her head cut off. Yes, sir.
What do you see on the horizon that will affect what the services you're providing, especially with regards to technology?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what do I see on the horizon as we provide care and as it relates to technology? Did I sum that up correctly? Okay. Some really cool things. One thing that that we're working on is, I talked about and I showed you the Falls program. That is something that I am very passionate about right now, especially as I see our numbers. And so we have developed this strong program, our Falls program, that my goal is to, in hope, being a part of the Arizona Falls Coalition, is duplicated across Arizona, right? And that's kind of how we built our program, is that we can duplicate this to other environments, communities like ours, and be the forerunner in that. The other piece is introducing technology to help us with falls. So we, in the next couple months, I hope to be announcing Helpany, which is a device that helps predict falls in environments. And we're going to pilot that technology in the assisted living. And if it's successful, the following year, it will go into our other environments. But I will be reporting out to you this information and everything. When we initiate that falls program, when we couple it with technology, Helpany, I want to see and show you our trends downward and walk you through why do we think we have a successful program, or why am I pivoting to something additional because we need to continue to see those numbers trend downward. So technology is our future. I will be attending an AI education on how we can embrace and leverage AI in senior living. That's coming up in the next 2 weeks. So very excited to continue to learn more about how we can use technology and AI to help support you better in your environment. And a lot of other technologies. We're going to be pushing out a few more things that we've been working on late last year that we'll be announcing soon for you all, that I hope you'll be excited about, which is increased communication and education at your fingertips as well. Little anecdote. So thank you for that. Any other questions? Yes. You are released. Thank you. So class dismissed. Thank you.